Evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. We're having a little more fun because the things are kind of going in the way of we're going to do whatever is going to improve the look of things and just have some general fun with astronomy tonight. I am Tom. I am the Astro Canuck. Thank you very much for tuning in. And Fusion, hello. How are you? We are. Unfortunately, we still have some cloudy skies, and I was really hoping that things would have been clear for a little bit, but unfortunately, it hasn't turned out that way. And we are continuing on with our rainy day astronomy this evening, and I am going to be doing a little do some changes to the stream a little bit, work on some overall structure of things. We'll kind of take a look at some older images and have a look at some of the new emotes that we're working on for the channel. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag of things. All things to do with the channel, all things to do with astronomy, astrophotography, and almost really anything else that kind of may crop up there. You never know what kind of tangent we'll go off on there. So we'll just kind of take things as they go. There's no real massively focused format for tonight. Like I said, we'll look at some of the new emotes. We'll also probably pop into Photoshop and have a look at one of our older images to try to do some quick editing on. We'll see how that goes. And we will work on maybe changing up this emote that is the current one that is available for our tier 1 subscribers, and we'll replace that one, but that one will still be available, but I want to get something that's more suited for the Astro Canuck side of things, so it's a little more recognizable than just my mug. Or if we end up reaching 15 subscribers at some point, then we'll have space for another emote available to the tier 1. But that's, like I said, it's not the focus of things trying to get subscribers. It's more just for me to share this information with you guys. So the first thing I'm actually noticing is that my camera window here is oddly cropped. So that is all. I'm probably going to leave it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch things up in here and maybe make things a little more we'll change things up, make it a little more talking head, really. So that way when we're switching to different scenes, at least we have more of a just chatting kind of scene, a little more focused on me communicating with you guys. And it's just yeah, I think that's probably what I may as well kind of start working on. Let me pull, actually, while I'm rambling on about things, let me at least get some interesting images that we have on here that we've taken in the past, just so we have a little conversation piece. Let's see, what was NGC? All right, this one is cool to leave up there. I'll leave that one up for now. So what we have up right now is the image of the Eastern Veil Nebula, and that's part of a larger complex of a supernova remnant. And this one is another 10-minute image that was taken, and I think it's just a really interesting area of the sky to look at in all focal lengths. And this was taken with the big telescope that we have. And let me re-angle that image there. Yeah, so that little guy down there is currently, well, still in a Halloween costume. And I took a look outside. I can see Mars punching through the clouds. However, there's just so many clouds in the sky at the, well, so many, there's a heavy layer of high clouds. So yeah, Mars can kind of punch through that, but it's not going to be good for any astrophotography, unfortunately. So what I'll just be doing is having the some older images up there, and we'll kind of take a look through those. And like I said, we'll kind of look at the new emotes that we're working on. And for those of you who are just joining in, just giving a quick rundown of what's going on tonight. It's a little more rainy day astronomy, and I am Tom. I am the Astro Canuck. We are usually bringing some live images of the universe to everybody, but we are doing a little maintenance almost. I know usually it should be reserved for behind the scenes. However, I'm not opposed to kind of pulling back the curtain on things, and I just want to be able to get things organized that look a little more aesthetically pleasing, because this whole overlay that I did is maybe a little chaotic at the moment. So I'll maybe even leave this one for an at-a-glance view of everything, but I do want to get more of a just chatting type layout available, so that when I'm talking to you guys, it's a little more focused and a little less chaos on the screen. And we'll also have a look at the new emotes that I've been working on, and hopefully they are going to look all right. And also kind of working on some new subscriber badges, so we don't just have, for those of you who have graciously subscribed to the channel, that will have some more interesting things than just these standard colored stars for that Twitch offers up. However, I will be using colored stars, but it's going to be in the range of between 3,000 and 40,000 degrees Kelvin. And yes, those kinds of stars will represent exactly what level of subscription that there is on the channel, or for those of you who have who will have been subscribing for quite a while, hopefully. But I keep saying this, I am optimistic about things. However, it's just not a prerequisite for joining the channel. Like I said, happy that people are believing in what we're doing for giving a little subscription, but it's not the focus point of everything here. This is me just bringing you guys any images of the night sky and just talking astronomy, astrophotography, or anything else in between, really. Anything in the scope of the universe is up for grabs. So just always happy to kind of hang out and just be in the for me, just being in like the area of astronomy is it's just what I really like to do. And I could bang on hours about astronomy and kind of the philosophy that may go along with it there. And yeah, you never know just where the conversation is going to lead to, but I'm always willing to offer up any advice from my experiences that I have, or even just kind of relaying some other information that other people have offered me, just to be able to help someone else enjoy the night sky a little more. If you're just getting into astronomy, astrophotography, there's so many different ways you can go about it, and there's no real magic formula for how you kind of get into it, and there's no real perfect telescope and no real perfect camera. It really all depends on what your goals are going to be. So at least if I can help focus your journey in some way, shape, or form, it may not be the exact advice you may need, but at least if I can steer someone in the right direction, because sometimes that's almost all you need, is just to pick a little bit, just have a little bit of focus. You don't need to be like a pinpoint accuracy on what you want to do, but at least just to know that this is the path I want to go down, and here's my options from that. Here's every other way that I can deviate from that plan. And yeah, just more than happy to be able to help you guys out on that. Okay, I'm going to start Stellarium, but if things start going crazy, I might stop using Stellarium there. Although if I am editing things, it may not be totally necessary. Oh, there we go. It's well, there's what the night sky would look like, less the labels, if we had some clear skies. What I actually did notice was that a lot of the planets are up in the night sky, and so we have Uranus and Mars, and if those trees weren't in the way, we would have Neptune, um, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter available. So there's plenty of chances to see some planets, but at the same time, for me, unfortunately, I have a limited window of opportunity to get in there. So what I would like to try to image is Uranus, because I've never gone for that one before, never gone for that planet because I've never had the scope. And really, if we tried at the native focal length, it wouldn't be as tiny. Well, it'd still be a really tiny dot. However, this is getting into resolving powers that are beyond my scope. But I mean, it would most likely come out as a fairly kind of solid baby blue object there. And yeah, if the clouds can kind of can clear out, it's looking like possibly Tuesday next week might be a good night for some live astrophotography, but that also could change at a moment's notice, and maybe Monday night will be better. Tomorrow night on Sunday doesn't look to be very favorable, unfortunately. So I am hoping that Monday or Tuesday is going to be a little better there, and Sunday we'll see what goes on. It maybe we'll do maybe another rainy day astronomy, or maybe deviate towards maybe a little more Watchdogs, tour London a little more, because I've only got a little portion of that the other day before it actually the whole thing kind of shut down on me. So we'll see how that goes there, and let's see. Things seem to be right. I think actually since I dropped the animated frames around here, it's not too bad. On this one, there's some animated frames. On this one, you can kind of see the just barely the tiny little lines moving around. Just coming up to tiny little animations. However, that is adding a lot of we can add a lot of processing issues with things. So I do want to try and get that sorted out and get rid of those so that we're not having problems with encoding. I want to be able to have as much going on as possible, but also not having as much chaos, if that makes sense. So yeah, things like that we'll get that sorted out. Let's see if I can have a view of just get a little preview of what we can expect to see for the upcoming icons. A tiny view. I think actually for the most part these things might be a little more detailed than need be. I might scale back a little bit of detail, but that's just a tiny view of what's to come there. So adorable. Hello, how are you? That emote is adorable. That we'll call that one yours. That's yours now. You can have it. Great, love it. of you. And we're looking at just a little preview of what is to come. Mine called it. There you go. That's it. Claim it. That's yours to keep. So we're just having a quick little preview, a little teaser, as it were, for right now for the upcoming emotes that I'm working on. And we'll kind of, maybe we'll pick. I have 3 ready, and I guess we'll see if we can take a poll a little later, and we'll see which ones you guys want to have available first for those who are subscribing to the channel, and we'll kind of build on things from there. I'll have more available, more that I'm working on. I have a whole bunch in a really fun looking little cute style that of the planets. So those will kind of be available a little later on down the road, and maybe even I'll see how the channel points will go. So maybe we can have those offered up for, you get a limited amount of time you can spend use the photons that you've collected. And I know if those of you who've kind of been watching, they've been piling up a little bit, but you know, that's fine. I appreciate you guys collecting enough of those photons and, you know, sticking around long enough for the streams. And well, yeah, we'll see how things go there. But yeah, for now, it's just going to be I'm going to look at excuse me. Just want to get this kind of sorted out. Maybe make a second version of this screen. So then we'll keep this one as kind of like the overarching view of what we're working on. You know, make sure we always have the telescope in view, and we'll know where we are in the night sky for what object we're looking at. So, for instance, what I have as one of our previous images that we took earlier in the week was from the Veil Nebula, and it was a supernova remnant in the constellation of Cygnus, and that is part of this supernova complex. And it was, here's the yeah, so that's the area that we were looking at up there. So that's where we were in the night sky, just pretty much straight up. We were able to get that image of the Veil Nebula before it kind of went behind the trees. So I was happy to catch that while we can. It looks like there will be some more opportunities come Tuesday to get some more images coming through there. So, you know, fingers crossed that the skies are going to stay clear, and we'll kind of stick with that there. But actually, let me have give me the latest update on the weather, because if anything has changed in our favor, then I'm very happy to update on that there. And it looks like now the weather's still going to be pants for Monday, and Tuesday's forecast has changed. Now it's Thursday is looking like it's forecast to be clear. So we'll kind of look on you know, we'll keep an eye on the weather just in case it changes, because it can switch up a little bit. Astro Caller, oi oi, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping in. We are just kind of doing a little bag of mixed nuts today on the stream, doing a little adjustment of one of the overlays to kind of clean it up a little bit, make it a little more focused towards me speaking with you guys. And yeah, not bad, mate. You perfect, doing well. We're here. It's as much astronomy as possible in my life at the moment, so we're keeping it, trying to keep things as fresh as possible. I know that this layout has been around for about a month, and I know it doesn't may not seem like a long time, but this was kind of like what I did when you know, just when I first started the stream, and I didn't know exactly what the look was going to be. So kind of rolling with this, and it's going to build up over time there. Good stuff. I'm just testing some guiding after stripping my mount. It still works, so that's a positive. Yeah, I saw your post on Instagram, so it's very brave and adventurous to be taking the whole mount apart like that. And yeah, good thing that glad it is still working. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't look forward to the day of that type of maintenance that I may have to do. I will probably send that off to for someone else to deal with if they know exactly what they're doing. Harbstrom, how are you, brother? You still have your spooky ghost cover on. Is that going to be the Christmas lights of telescopes? Maybe. Or maybe I do put Christmas lights on this scope. All right, maybe so. We'll see. Or maybe a Santa hat. But well, I'm also wait. I might see if they kind of naturally fall off, and then we'll go from there. I'll send you some good links for adjusting backlash so that you don't have to open mount. All right, cool. Appreciate that. Thank you. Make sure I'm on the right screen there. And I'm hearing more fireworks still going off. Sometimes you can catch them in the camera there. People will be lighting off the fireworks in my neighborhood. So if we get a really good display, I'll pop that up there. Cool. All right, we got that. Thank you. Yeah, it looks. I'm already getting warnings for encoder being overloaded. Yeah, like there's nothing going on. I don't want to. I'm not going to muck about with more system settings at the moment, so we'll leave it as it is now. But yeah, for those of you who are just joining in, thank you very much for joining the stream. We are, like I said, doing a bit of a mixed bag of astronomy and overlay adjustments, and taking a look at some of the new emotes that we'll be working on for the channel there. Because right now we just have this option of this little handsome face available at the moment, and just want to try and bring a little more Astro Canuck central theme to the emotes there, because those who are happy enough to spam this emote when we do a raid, it's just my face and that's about it. And as much as we like to look at this face, that little face down there doesn't make a whole lot of sense at the moment. I just wanted to have something up there. So yeah, just being able to work on some of the overall look of this, and like it's going to come as we move along there. And it's not, I'm not looking to do a sprint on all this and just, I think the quick way that some people do to just throw some money at other services. And it's not that I'm against doing that at all, but I do want to be able to have as much of this as my own as possible. So a lot of these frames around there were kind of free overlays that were available, and I do want to kind of stray away, because how many other people may have something like this, and just to be able to keep it as original as possible. So the icons and just any other little elements that are coming up here, just to slowly work on all that, because I have, and my IRL job is it's 9 to 5, and if I'm going to do an astronomy stream right after that, there's not a whole lot of time to really work on those images in the background. So maybe sometimes it'll be watch me tinker around with some images, and we'll all swear together. But for now, it's it's open forum for things, and if you guys have any stories, those who would be into astrophotography, questions about astrophotography, astronomy in general, yeah, just happy to chat about that. And if you know, those who just want to lurk, that's totally fine. There's no pressure to join in on things. If you just want to sit back and enjoy what's going on, we will not won't fault you for that at all. So what I'm going to do is it seems to be moving all right there. Well, it's a minor encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings. I keep seeing this all the time, and I've turned down the settings so many times. I don't know what more do I need to do to get this under control. It probably must be Stellarium that's doing this, eating up a lot of memory. Maybe if I ran it as an administrator. I'm gonna close that and see if that, because that message only came up after I turned on Stellarium. However, I had one person recommend Carte de Ciel, which is sky chart, and yeah, it looks like it's a lightweight program. However, the look of it doesn't jive with what I want to do. I think it looks fine. It's great, but yeah, it's a little not what I'm looking for. I think I want to be able to kind of show things to you guys in as much detail as possible, because there's not always that understanding of the night sky, and I want to be able to illustrate that to people who may be new to all this, and who may just be starting to look up and may not be as familiar with the night sky as other people. So yeah, I just want to be able to offer that in any way possible there. So like I said, we'll kind of be looking at some old images. We shot the part of the Eastern Veil Nebula last week, and I was really happy with that, how that one turned out, because it is such a amazing looking section of the night sky, and just being able to pick out those details with the 8-inch telescope is just that much more amazing than I've been able to capture in the past. Where it is nice to get wide field images. However, the details that are being presented are just that much more incredible than I could have imagined to capture even like a year ago. Like how much has kind of changed and evolved with my rig and the setup, and just the general knowledge of what's kind of come over the months, over the years. And I just want to be able to share it with you guys as much as possible. So this image of the Pac-Man Nebula was a 16-minute exposure that I did, when was this, back in that was the 26th of October. So one of the more recent live astrophotography events. But it was just the detail that's in there, and we're able to pick out so many stars, just the tiny little clouds, the Bok globules, and just really kind of start to get a feel of the depth of this nebula. So yeah, that was one of the, usually we do 10-minute exposures, and we get some nice details, and depending on the conditions of the night sky, the guiding might suffer a bit. So I'll try and maybe do a little shorter exposure. But this one, it was a nice clear night, and overall the stars look great. I'm happy with that. And that was a rare 16 and a half minute exposure that I wanted to do, just to see how much detail was possible. And luckily enough, no satellites went through there, no airplanes kind of passed by the area, so that left the image nice and clear as possible there. Yeah, so I'm going to, let's see if anything goes wrong, I apologize. And if my stream goes down, you'll know why. that as multi-window overview. Right, so now this is a new scene. Actually, no, it's, I want to rename that. That's going to be there we go. So let's actually, I need to see that that has worked. So all right, this is our new scene, and it you know, it doesn't look any different than what's been there. However, everything is just free to move around. So I also need to make sure I've locked down what isn't, what I'm not going to be moving here. So the chat bar, that's staying. The alerts, let's see, make sure the alerts are there. Cool. And also, yes, thank you very much, Johnny P86, for the follow earlier on in the day, and I appreciate everybody who has followed, and thank you guys very much. I know we are approaching 1,000. Oh my God, I'm getting way too ahead of myself here. 100 followers. 100 followers have joined. 100 followers have joined the observatory, and I'm very happy that you know, you guys have been interested enough to have a look at the channel and come back for a little more, as it were. And yeah, just happy to have you guys here. And like I said, any kind of questions that crop up about astronomy, astrophotography, I will answer them to the best of my ability. And if I can't have a straight answer, then I'll look that up, and I will try to get I'll expand my knowledge base a little farther. So it's always any chance for a learning opportunity. Happy to be doing that there. So yeah, I just appreciate you guys watching, you guys following, those who have subscribed to the channel, those who've donated bits. I really can't thank you guys enough for kind of joining me in this forum just to ramble on about astronomy. And yeah, I mean, it's something that I know, right, you know, being in the UK right now, we're you know, we're back in another lockdown, so things are kind of tough once again. And you know, I'm just trying to maybe offer up a little escape from that, and just, you know, we'll get our heads in the clouds. Or no, we don't want our heads in the clouds, we want our heads farther than the clouds. And no clouds, we don't want any clouds. No problem, mate. I think it's great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like, immense. I know I can say I appreciate things, I'm very grateful, but like, words can only go so far. And really what I want to be able to do is just give back to you guys the sky. You know, that's what I want to be able to share with you guys in as much detail as possible. And yeah, just given the opportunity to maybe blow someone's mind once in a while. And I do look forward to imaging new targets. No, you can't well up, because then I'm going to well up and someone's going to be cutting onions. We don't need that. Actually, the one time when there were tears, it wasn't because of emotions. I had cut some hot peppers for dinner, and you know, absent-mindedly rub your eyes, and that's the end of that. So it was actually when I was playing Phasmophobia, and luckily I wasn't in any, my character wasn't in danger, but I had to pause things for a moment. And yeah, it's not uncommon for me to do that. So if for any reason you guys have to run off stream for anything, it's most likely because I was cutting up hot peppers that night and I've forgotten about it. It happens. But yeah, without you guys here, I'd be talking to myself. And while I can be a great conversationalist, it's not the same. You know, it's nice to bounce ideas off of people, and you kind of get a little more dynamic conversation going. And who knows what kind of rabbit hole you go down for a while. And you know, those of you who have watched the stream before, you can you know that I have the tendency to ramble on about things, and I'll forget about the exposure that's going on, and what should have been a 10-minute exposure, and we're oohing and ahhing. 20 minutes later, I'm still babbling on about something else. So, you know, I've spoken to him about that ghost. He really needs to change it each month now. I have expectations. Come for the costume, stay for the astronomy. All right, I will see about getting a Santa hat or a beard on there next week. We'll wait till after Armistice Day, and we'll Christmas it up a bit. No, you want something new now? Maybe I'll make it a little poppy. You need something else for November. Okay, I'll get a poppy for November. Next stream we'll have a poppy on it. All right. So, yes, Ms. Art Director. A poppy would be good. All right, we'll have a poppy ready for next stream. Okay. All right, a poppy and a mustache. All right. Okay. A poppy and a mustache for Movember and Remembrance Day. Movembrance Day. No. Movember and Remembrance Day. All right, we'll have that ready for the next stream, and the next stream will be featured on the 1st of December, 2020, and we'll have a Santa hat. Right, so let's move a little things around here. Let's get rid of let's see. I want to make sure that I'm only moving certain bits. Because we want to bring this guy. So I'm going to turn off a couple of things here. I'm huge. Yeah, we just want to be able to see what. No, we need that there. You need to know who I am. I'm the Astro Canuck. Let's see. Let's hide that. Hide that. Hide that. There we go. Right. Just get a few things out of the way. Now the one thing unfortunately with OBS is that it doesn't come with an undo button. So if I muck things up, you know, we lose some bits here. Now do I want to be right here? I have to adjust my position. This seems a little more focused at the moment. I'm liking how this could be. But then we lose out. I want to be able to have the, see, where's the ASI air? Because that is, there you go, that's that there. Oh, I've touched something. That's that, that's its frame. Let's lock that down. All right, maybe I don't need to be as gigantic. Maybe do something like that. And then we have our current image that'll be running down there. You know, there's probably a reason why you really don't need to do this live. However, I want to be able to really look at you guys as close as possible. How are you? I'm well. Let's see, and also getting this up above the chat bar so it's not obscured. So bring those up there. What's that? That is an old piece. And let's okay, I have to start Stellarium up again just to get an idea of the window size, because I want to, like I said, kind of have a bit of an at a glance down here, so when we are rambling on about things, we can quickly switch to the other views. I may need to consider a new position for the logo. But let's see, let's put me there. We'll do that. Put that there, and it's a start. You know, I think there's some work that needs to be done. However, it's a little more me directly talking at you, and there's less chaos going on. So we'll lock that down for right now. And I still have the stars and everything along the sides here, which kind of opens up possibilities for other little elements to add some separation there. So I'm going to lock all these layers down for now so I don't touch anything. And you know, it was just a quick little change, and you know, it may stay like this, it may not, but I think I want to use this. Let's say that this is going to be the kind of the baseline for a bit of the new look there, and I'll think of some other stuff to kind of put along the sides. And really, if you guys have any suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions, because it's going to be what you guys are going to enjoy looking at as much as I do. So yeah, any kind of you know, so I'm open to any suggestions. That's it. Yeah, so let's I'm going to call this kind of my new home screen for the moment there. So it was a quick, let's see how this well, we probably won't even need this one anymore. So that was the old look that we had, and I kind of felt maybe a little, you know, this tiny little talking head. At least now it's a little more focused. So we'll see how this goes as the kind of the new thing. I think the logo might need to change a little bit there, but we'll grow from there. So let's see what I know. I'm going to try. If I go over to Photoshop, I might have a little bit of an issue with things there. But like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag of what we're doing tonight. And I think what I will do is if we do go over into Photoshop, it will be for, let's see, the for working on what I was originally going to do was the Heart Nebula. Let's see if that's still, that file is quickly available there. Actually, well, it's not so much the Heart Nebula, but Melotte 15, that nebulous star-forming region within the middle of the Heart Nebula. And it looks like, you know, we're gonna give this a go, because it's gonna be, I'm gonna try for a quick process of this. But we'll see how that goes there. But I do notice I do have the let's, oh, wrong button. I do want to switch out this this frame here. And get rid of this animated bit. So let's switch that off there. Let's see, that's all right. There we are. There you go. Keep the computer as happy as possible, right? Now, we need to it was on there, but there we go. Right, now the interesting thing at the moment is that this is displaying on Photoshop, and I don't have the the separate window being captured. So we'll see how this works out, if this is going to play along, and that's great. Maybe there were some minor changes that happened in OBS, but this is part of the Heart Nebula, which is the kind of the central star forming region, known as cataloged as Melotte 15. And I have shared this image before, and I think there's still some more work that needs to be done with it. Like, I do need to I think at one point I did lose a bit of the kind of overall color and structure of this, and it turned out a little more red and like a darker background than I wanted, rather than the kind of the wispiness that is kind of in this whole image, because we shot this at almost 1,000 millimeters with the new telescope, and it was a bit of a combination of broadband and narrowband. So I think there are some opportunities for some more colors to be pulled out of there, and I think overall the stars turned out to be a lot nicer than usual. So it was about 15.5 hours worth of exposure time on this one. So it's definitely a smoother image to work with, and it's just kind of that being able to tease out the details there. So I do need to initially do a crop on this, but I also want to see all right, yeah, let's of course Photoshop crashes. You know, because it's Photoshop, it wants to crash on you. All right, you know what, let's we'll put that one on the back burner for now. Actually, what I wanted to do is, what I wanted to do was do a little processing on that image there, but with the opportunistic crash of Photoshop, and hopefully Illustrator stays up there. Yeah, let's have a look at some of the emotes that I'm working on, and what I hope to have. I did have one prepared, and then it was just lost in Photoshop there, so I'm gonna have to go through that one again. But so this is the what I worked on for the one of the emotes that would be used when we go to raid someone, and at least you're using something that isn't just a generic raid icon. It'll be one that's specific to us, specific to our channel, and I think it'll be simple enough to be viewed. So I do want there may still be a few changes to be done there. Sorry, the raid going black is just when I mouse over the text there. So let me outline that text so that we don't get that happening anymore. That's that one done. That's that one as outlines. And of course it falls apart a bit there, naturally. Where'd that one go? Well, another thing that is very important in design work is to label your layers. Take that time to label your layers, else you forget where the heck they go. All right, what I'm going to do is let's put this on a new layer, so there's less to go through. There we go. Okay. So yeah, this will be the raid icon, which will be I guess as more subscribers kind of would come on board, then they'll be unlocked after a certain amount there. Once you kind of reach that milestone of subscriptions, it does unlock more slots for me to add more of these emotes. So it'll be you know, every X amount of subscribers, it just kind of unlocks that new level, and I can add that there with each successive tier. But like kind of like these ones that are going to be very specific to some general things with the channel and with you know, with Twitch overall. Like I said, just kind of make those available as they come up there. So that would be what we use for our raids whenever we are going to jump in on someone else's channel and hype things up a bit there. And it's here, let me just get this. I have one last little bit to fix up there. Now let's get let's move the eye up, and then get the leaf back up that, so you get the meteors kind of almost going through the letters there. It's a small detail, but I think that actually I think this might be a little too detailed there. So I'm going to put that with we'll match those colors up. Yeah, that works out a little better there. So yeah, just kind of things like this. This is partly how I'll spend an afternoon, just tweaking things as much as possible, but also with trying to keep things, because these are tiny icons that are going to be showing up on the in the chats there. So I think adding too much detail is a lot of that might get lost in there. So we're going to use that one as I'm going to make sure we save that down there. So that is going to be our raid emote. And let's see, the one that we'll use for just to kind of as our, you know, get excited about some stuff. We use this one as the just the kind of some general excitement to hype things up. So, you know, it's a little deviation from you know, what's that, the logo down there, which I might also tweak a little bit as we go, because I am liking how this maple leaf this one looks. Now this maple leaf was actually one that was already that had caught my eye before, so I was happy to use this one that was offered up to kind of build everything else around. So the stars and the meteors were of my design. So yeah, I liked how this maple leaf looked, and it kind of fit with the overall look of things. So I was able to use this one as opposed to changing things up there. I think I need a new logo. Welcome aboard. Look, I do create logos as well. So as a graphic designer, this is what what I've trained myself and been trained to do. So always happy to kind of help anybody out, and I can have reasonable rates, but yeah, if you do want to talk about things farther, definitely I'm happy to chat about that, and if we can come to an agreement, cool. If not, well, at least we'll see how things go. That's all. And cool. Yeah, no, I'm happy to help out on that. I think we'll have a couple versions for kind of the. I think what I might do this one as the first emote. We'll kind of get rid of my face, and we'll go with that there. The ring system with a couple of divisions in there. That'll be for. I'll use that on a larger logo. But the emote will kind of be based off of the single division in a ring, just for simplicity's sake, because I did check out how well that little one, the two ring, the three ring system was going to look. However, it kind of gets lost in the details, and I think we'll play around with things and see how they go. I'm happy to adjust things, and not to deviate from what this is going to be overall, but we'll go with this one. And I think it takes a couple hours or so for Twitch to give the go ahead on things. So I know when I did the first emote, it wasn't available for, I think it was 4 or 5 hours, and then it was good to go. So while I have that option of instant upload, there is I guess a quick review process that they do to make sure it's not anything against their terms. But actually, what I was going to do is get that all on another new layer, so I'm not fighting with my my less than stellar organizational skills in my layers system, which thankfully you can't see that and see the mess that I do make. I mean, usually it's not that bad. However, when ideas start rolling out there, I tend to abandon my organizational process, unfortunately. That's just me. That's what happens. I know where it is, and now that I've isolated them on their own layers, it is not a big problem. But I just want to make all those outlines. There we go. That's all outlines now. Perfect. So no issues because I'm going to have to switch these, change these up into well, I'm adjusting the size of them. These are all vector art images at the moment, but when I say if I take them into Photoshop or anything like that, I don't need to have any stroke on any images, because those can really distort. So you need to have everything just as vector art when you're changing things up like that. But that's yeah, those are the kind of the three icons that we'll be rolling out, and we'll keep the you know, the my little face will stay in there, and maybe I'll kind of have that more as a maybe sort of channel points to unlock, so people can use that wherever. And yeah, it's a bit of a mishmash of ideas that I have on the artboard there, and I do go through many options of things, and some work out and some need to be changed up a bit there. But what I will offer for some more tiered emotes will be some of the planets. So we'll start off with our own home planet, and I think I'll probably do maybe 3 versions of Earth, so we kind of have different continents available for those who maybe, you know, you're going to be in different parts of the world. And so right now we have a little representation of North America, Iceland, Greenland, the UK, and South America. And yeah, for this one, it was kind of for me kind of capturing, you know, both my geographical homes on Earth at the moment. So I think what I'll do is we'll rotate Earth a little farther, so we'll get more of Europe, more of Asia in there, and you know, then we'll do one more version. It's got more of New Zealand, Australia, East Asia, and yeah, we'll roll those out eventually as well. And those will be more to unlock. You know, we'll use Mars. You guys are kind of getting the obviously the first look at all this stuff here. Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus. Uranus, I may ditch the rings on that one there, because, or at least kind of have an abbreviated ring with that, similar with Saturn. We'll see how that one goes. Although Saturn, I could kind of tilt it a little bit, and we'll go with that there. But maybe Uranus, I'll adjust the ring around that one there. But those would be the emotes that we're gonna kind of start to roll out on here, and it's a slow process, because it's just me who's splitting this work between a full-time designer job and you know, if I'm running a stream during the night, especially if it's clear skies, we're focusing more on that than the overall structure of the stream there. Now this was an earlier attempt at a maple leaf, but I wasn't too keen on that structure there. So when I did come across another maple leaf that I could use, that was basically perfect. I wasn't gonna really switch things up at all. So yeah, and just some of the reference points that I use. So I do try, if anything I'm making, I do want to try to make it as accurate as possible, but try to keep it entertaining as well. So we did have what would be a cross section of Uranus based off of you know, this one here. So it's works in progress. Thought I would have a hurricane in there, but it didn't fit the overall look of things. So I ditched that and just had the this version that we're looking at right now. So that'll be, again, one of the next. Well, I guess I don't know about doing next tier level emotes, but it kind of depends. Like I said, there is that system of X number of subscribers, you get more emote slots available. So kind of as those roll out, we'll add some more to the collection there. So we'll have some fun emotes available, and yeah, like I said, with other Photon, the channel rewards, we'll be able to have some other options available there. Maybe we'll do some other things for channel points. I gotta say, it's a new kind of system that I'm dealing with, and a lot of people do their interactions almost have to do with kind of mucking up with maybe with their gameplay or something like that, or just some kind of distraction tool. And I guess something like this, we're a little chilled on things overall. So making distractions, I don't know how well that would work. Maybe, you know, we'll. Nah, I thought about something like maybe we'll do an image without auto guiding, and in a way that kind of you can see how how necessary auto guiding can be on a telescope. I guess I could just just illustrate that one day. Could seem like a waste of an exposure. Maybe we'll do like a shorter one, like a 5-minute one. You can just see how much things can move around, and I guess I can also probably discover how much is wrong with my scope or with the mount. Maybe we'll detect some other kind of troubleshooting elements in there. But we'll see how that goes once the skies clear up a bit, when we have some more consistent weather rolling through. Also, for the Thursday, it does look, even if it is clear, the dew point is pretty high. We're probably going to be about 12 degrees, and we're at 100% humidity there overnight. So, yeah, until I get that the dew heater system organized there, it could end up being a bit of a short night as well, despite the clear skies. So we'll play that by ear and see how it goes. Maybe I'll bust out a hair dryer or something, because like I said, just since moving up to the new scope, I haven't been able to get a dew band or a dew heater system. It's going to be the last dew heater I had was just a small one, USB powered, and that did the trick on my small 3-inch refractor. So this is like I said, it's a much larger scope, and it requires a little more power being rolled out to keep that mirror from fogging over. But let's see if I can get. We'll see how that goes. But let's get Photoshop back up and running. We'll see if we can have a look at the Heart Nebula there, and maybe it will have recovered our other emote, so I don't have to resize that and set that up again. Now I do wonder with the because I have just recently updated Photoshop, and I do wonder because everything was working all right. So let's see. It might things might slow down for a tick as this is all loading up. Okay, well that's still there. That was recovered. And that's still not showing up there. Let me see if I can get that this window working. Will that pick it up? No. This is a bit of a tricky one with Photoshop, because it doesn't want to. You kind of got to force it to recognize the window that you're on there. Wrong button. And now we're somehow capturing 2 cursors. Now here's where this is. It's the inconsistency of of this there. Where is my... All right, that's that there. So I want to have this one. Aha, there we go. All right, I'm gonna try one more thing before this. All right, perfect. Okay. Technology. I do it to myself. I got myself into this whole world of design, and yeah, sometimes, a lot of the time, it's me forcing it to work the way I want it to. So we'll see how this goes. Let's crop this down, because as you can see, all this, the way how it is around the corners there, you that just has to do with when the images are shot and there's dithering. And actually this was taken over several different nights. So I do have a bit of a combination of the broadband and the narrowband imaging in there. And yeah, so it does kind of get cropped in quite a bit just to be able to have parts of the image available that aren't going to have a little less information processed in the corners there. So even at the size that it is now, that's probably still going to change a little bit there as we progress on the image. But the ones that have kind of come out from the larger telescope and with the ASI 533, it does take a little more adjustments, a little more finesse to get those details out of there, because it does almost seem like an overall darker image. And while I am shooting at a focal ratio of like about f4.7, it's really not that much slower than my old telescope was at the native focal ratio. So why these ones are coming out a little darker overall, I'm not quite sure. And I do feel sometimes like some of my issues or some of my queries feel almost very specific to what I'm doing. So it's a matter of finding someone else who may have come across this problem in the past to make sure that you know, we have that I'm able to find out what it is, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe my stacking method is incorrect. So, you know, not sure exactly how that goes along there at times. But let's do a little teasing out of this image. As far as the levels go, I'm able to push that that amount of dark. There's a lot of information that can be brought out there. And I am using these arc sine curve presets that have worked out really well. And actually, the first time I processed this image, I didn't have these curves adjustment available, so it'll be interesting to see what is pulled out of here while we're working on this. Now, this is obviously a little too aggressive, and I don't want to pull this image apart so quickly, because sometimes things can they fall apart, and I'll probably do at least a couple levels adjustments and a couple curve adjustments to bring those details out before we can really start. Because even now we're starting to see a little more structure in here. Now this is 15 hours of integration time. So there's plenty of signal that has been accumulated over the there's about maybe four or five nights, I guess, in total that I had this target available to me. And yeah, once you have that amount of signal coming through, the the noise is much easier to tease out there. So you're left with, we'll zoom in a little bit there. You just see that it's, we do have this the green kind of haze there. Overall, we have a smooth look to things there. ATS, how are you? Good evening. How are things? We are just looking at some old data, but revisiting things, because there are always different techniques that can be utilized to pull out some more detail, refine the image a little farther. In lockdown, as good as they can get. Yep, same boat as you. We're locked down for at least those 4 weeks. However, who knows how much longer things are going to go. I have my own kind of musings about how things are going to go, but I'm no expert in that field, so it's anybody's guess just how long things will be locked down for. But we're starting to get to the point where I'm going to have to, well, I'll do one more curves adjustment on there, because I am seeing the signals split in the levels here. So we'll see. I'll do one more adjustment on the levels, and then I'll see if I can balance this out a bit without losing some of that no. All right, now we'll cancel that one. I'm going to try this one by hand. We'll align these RGB channels. Because I have a feeling one of them may be way off. Now the for some reason with my video it doesn't actually cover anything up. It's that OBS doesn't display all the pop-out windows of for the tools adjustments in Photoshop, and I'm still looking into how that works. In fact, it was a bit of a task to actually get it to show this actual the actual artboard on the screen there. No, it's no worries on that there. It's like I've said before, with just trying to bend these programs to my will. They don't always respond that way. I think more for like, I guess doing a Photoshop tutorial is maybe better geared towards doing it in just kind of recording it and then uploading it to YouTube. However, just being able to I guess describe what I'm attempting to do in here through and just kind of seeing the results that are popping out there. That's a little better. I'm still getting a lot of red, and I think actually overall, the last time I processed this, it wasn't as red at this point. I was still getting some other colors available, so you know, picking what's going to be the gray point in here. Kind of takes a little. Next, you pick the new. That's way too blue. It's a little better. Still overall red. I'm beginning to think that the arc sign curves have kind of skewed things a bit. And this is at the point when I'm kind of processing images, is I do go back and forth a lot, and that is partially why sometimes things can take a lot longer than than usual. So, but at the same time, just already kind of getting that the details coming out there. No, cancel that. Things got out of hand. Now that little part down the corner. Oh, well, good. You can see my cursor. Just this little lacy bit of nebulosity, the dark areas here. I thought are interesting little part of the structure there. And I think the last image that I did, it kind of got it. Well, it definitely got cut off because I did crop in fairly heavily overall, because I do have a larger area of this nebula to work with, and like I said, I was almost a little disappointed to kind of get rid of that in a previous image. But I would almost be inclined, see, because as you do the arc sign curves, you are preserving a lot of the like the shape of the stars. You're not kind of bloating things out, but it does seem that I am really amplifying the reds overall. Because if we look at the channels there, you know, blue and green, we're not getting. That's kind of like what you're getting in the O3 and the H beta area for the blues. And I think there's something about synthesizing a green channel, because these two are kind of a combo of the blue end of the spectrum, whereas the hydrogen alpha is a lot more interesting. That is in the red channel. And this is just that overall wispiness that you see in that nebula there. That's really interesting, and there's so many more. There's more details that I'm seeing in this than the other layers. So I would want to, I guess, use more of this to maybe build up a better luminance layer overall to kind of really pull those details out. What I think I might do is let's see if this doesn't crash at all. Create a new grayscale window. That's not. No, it doesn't. Okay, let me take 2 seconds to. do a quick little, we'll bring in there we go. So I've created a gray channel, or of just a channel for just the hydrogen alpha, and that would be utilized as the luminance layer. Now, sometimes you can kind of combine your information from the blue and the green to make a smoother image, but even zooming in on this, you can see overall this, because it's the 15 and a half hour exposure, is not a lot of noise that's we can see in the red channel. It actually is really, really well you can see a lot of that information has been retained. And like I said, this little section right here, I really like how that looks, and I want to, there's more of this kind of this dust blocking out the light in this area that looks like really lacy, and it's it's kind of like just below there. So and because we are at such a tight focal length, just under 1,000 millimeters, you kind of got to pick what you're shooting for. And this section right here was what I really wanted to capture, and being able to really get those details to come out. And even just switching it, here's because when you're building a luminosity layer, you know, that's what you're doing. It's just adding that contrast to it. And I think I would want to, I do have that saved, so I might actually, what I would do usually is I would go back and kind of reprocess the this initial background image, because it really is really coming out red, and I'm not quite sure what, well, my thought is just be using those arc sine curves, which is actually changing up some of the colors there. So actually what I'm going to do is, what I usually do is I'm going to take a step back on this image. I do have that that grayscale image saved, so let's, here we go. I'm going to go, here's our initial levels and curves adjustment. So from there I'm going to go into the curves, going to pick the gray point, and if we're looking at like around there, because I do want to maintain those star colors, and it looks like, yeah, we have our, should be coming out a little better there. That's probably what I should have done early on, was to pick that gray point, so we do have white stars, or the proper colored stars going into the image there. Let's see how this looks on a curve adjustment. Never saw, yeah, it looks like we're already you got the white shine of the stars already. So that is kind of worth going back a couple of steps, and that's probably where I was actually going. That was definitely where I was going wrong, is I wasn't doing a white balance. However, when I can't see too much, I might be picking out an area of nebulosity that isn't actually a kind of a neutral area. So where I picked was roughly where I figured there wasn't anything going on in that section. So at least we're already at a point where there's white stars again, and we don't have that overall red hue to the image there. But if so, I'll just do a couple more adjustments there again, just to bring out the details, because I could go super aggressive on things, but I also don't want to lose don't want to lose a whole lot of detail in there. So I'm just going, let's try that there. And yeah, even already, just the way how this is looking, the stars aren't, if you saw just a few minutes ago there, the star, this is all red. It had that overall red hue to it. And that's not what I wanted to get out of this image. You know, and looking at the individual channels, and the blue and green still not a whole lot of detail, but we are starting to see more of that in the red channel, more of that hydrogen alpha kind of come into view there. So I'm going to go back there. We still try to tease out some of this. Some of the detail there. Just kind of bring in the level slider. There's absolutely no data on the left side of the histogram there, so I can bring it in, and we're not clipping out any actual data. Not until we get to about, you know, this point here is when we're starting to lose some data. And actually, you can kind of see right in the lower left corner, it is that hard line there, and that really is from part of the images that were stacked together that aren't that didn't quite match up there. So there's not as much data in that corner, so I still would crop in a little more, which at that level I would lose that kind of lacy bit of dust in the structure there. So it's unfortunate, but if I'm not shooting a mosaic image, then, you know, I gotta deal with those losses that are coming out there. So again, just working on those arc sine curves. I think this will probably be the last adjustment on there, because you can definitely see now in this in the image in the lower left corner that is really dark, and that's due in part because there isn't just enough data in there, and we're just kind of pulling it beyond what's available. So if I do this, we're going to crop that in just a little more. Maybe we'll crop it in this way. I'll come in, we'll make it, so usually it is a square image that kind of comes out there, but I do want to keep that little corner just a little bit down there, because I think that's really interesting. But also at the same time, this right side, there's an overall gradient, so this may be let me crop that in a little more in a bit. But let's see about now how this overall. Now see, it's too red, way too red. I don't want that. I want to kind of get rid of that green tone there. So we just adjust the, setting the gray point, really, just kind of picking a neutral area of the image. And we're still maintaining those star colors. We still have that, even like right here, it's a bit of an orange star. I'm not sure how that looks on your screens there, but I'm still seeing, you know, kind of red stars, blue stars, and orange stars. So we'll stick with that. And I know there's still a bit of a color gradient overall. And you can even see that actually in this blue channel, that on the right side here, even down below, I may have to actually go ahead and cut that that little bit of the that lacy kind of nebula off there, because all that information is just incomplete around the edges here. So I will I'm gonna take a step backwards on here one more time. See, to the point of where our crop was before. And kind of bring it in a little more, because then that way at least the histogram is giving a more accurate, giving more accurate information. So unfortunately I do lose that little bit of lacy just down there. That's all gone now, unfortunately. But that kind of comes with when you're shooting an image with, you know, over so many nights, that you know, that initial when you line up the image, it just may be a tiny bit off while it is yeah, it was, I was almost focusing, I did recenter on another section there, so it wasn't the for one night it wasn't the correct default position that comes up there when you look on the ASI Air, because you can like I said, you can choose where the scope centers on, so you can kind of better frame your target up there. And that's what I did one night with the I think it probably was in the broadband imaging, where I wanted to have it better centered overall, and that kind of mucked things up when I centered it again, and I was off overall. So, you know, I got a little more of the nebula up there than I did down there, and you know, that's why you kind of end up with these the images like that there. However, let's we'll go back and do that. Use a color picker again with the pick that neutral area around there. I think that was about it. Now, going to pop in. No. Actually, maybe that'll work if I center it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, because I all my crops have been you know, 1-to-1 punching in there. The previous image was a little larger than what we had before. So, just being able to center it there, it'll snap to center. So at least we are. We have the correct overlay. We're not having any double stars or like double images showing up there. And just adding that luminosity layer on top, we're just able to. It kind of brings out the bit more of the contrast in those areas, and I might start adding. We'll do adjustment layers on there and really start to tease out some of the contrast in this area. And when you do add that, at least for me, when I've added the luminance layer, it kind of washes out the color a little bit there, so you're left with well, you saw how it was, that overall kind of pinkish there. So just kind of bumping up the saturation. That could also be something that you do a little later on, just so you're not kind of amplifying any issues that kind of crop up there. But just being able to see the colors come out there is I mean, it's already starting to look a little better than what I kind of did before. And again, it's one of those images I'm going to kind of go back to, and I'll probably this is not as intensive as I do things when I'm you know, just quietly editing an image there, because I'll go back. I probably would have already gone back like 4 or 5 more times to get everything exactly where I wanted it to. So yeah, just being able to bring those images out. James Vade, how are you? Have you tried to use StarNet Plus to remove stars? I have not tried that yet. I think that everything, but some of the images that come out of that process they're amazing. I love how some certain nebula look without the stars, and you kind of get a better feel of that structure. But I haven't personally used that yet. Is that okay? To be fair, I just know exactly what it does. Is it a standalone plugin, or does it work with PixInsight, or is it just, or you know, does it work? Will it work with Photoshop, or would I have to kind of move it into another software? I mean, I think, yeah, like I said, some of those images that come out look fantastic, and you know, I think something like this would probably do well with a bit of a starless process on there. Now, I don't know if I've seen people do it with stars that have some large diffraction spikes, so I don't know if it would be better suited for using my refractor or not, if I was going to process those images. So what I might do is hide those layers for a second there. There you go. So standalone or PixInsight, as far as I'm aware. I haven't used it yet. I was just curious. Yeah. Okay. I'll definitely look into that a little farther. Check that out maybe later tonight. It's a PixInsight plugin then. Yeah, like I did get into PixInsight a few months ago, and it was just the the 45-day trial. But it used to be an ad, but it comes standard now. All right, cool. Yeah, that's one of the things. It's on the list of programs. If I go back into PixInsight, I definitely need to brush up on it again. I basically just start over with the tutorial on there and get used to that process again, because like I've used Photoshop for so long, and it's just kind of one of those processes that I know cold. I can come into it and start using all the tools, but PixInsight definitely had a different workflow that you almost had to create yourself, and the process names didn't quite describe what they did right away. So there's a bit of experimenting that has to go on there. I have a license key you can borrow only because I love you. Oh, thanks, man. I mean, I appreciate that. We'll keep that hush hush then. It's I think from the limited time that I did use it, I was impressed with how well I was able to reprocess images and just be able to just see what I was kind of missing, because Photoshop is meant for like terrestrial photos, and some of the plugins and tools that people have created are bending Photoshop to its maximum capabilities, which doesn't extend well to astrophotography all the time. I use Photoshop, so it has been good watching your editing techniques. I wish I could stay longer. Gotta go to work soon. Great stream again. All right, James, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can explain. I've been able to explain what I'm doing. I know there's limited windows that we can see on Photoshop with OBS, but yeah, if I'm able to convey some little bit of information that's been able to work out for it, I'm very happy that that's worked out. So yeah, thank you very much for stopping in, and those of you who have noticed the first on James Vade's name in the chat there, that does denote that he was my first subscriber, actually, and for the first 10 people who do subscribe, they do get that founder's badge, and once those first 10 are gone, then those first 10 are gone, and those are the just those first people who I appreciate so much for joining in and supporting the channel there. And it's not that any subsequent people that join after the 10th would be any less meaningful, but it's just a cool little thing that you can have on the channel there, and I appreciate that very much. More questions next time? Yeah, definitely. Hey, fire away. Anytime you're in, happy to try to answer any questions and to guide you in the in a bit of the right direction there. But yeah, thanks so much for stopping by there. Hey, Astro Caller, thanks for following. Welcome to the observatory. I'm very happy to have you along there. And we will we'll venture to make some new improvements overall, and so that's all right. That's cool. We are 5 away from our 100th follower on the channel, and that's already that's already 95 more people than I thought would really join in on things. I wasn't quite sure where things were going to go, and a month later from when we started, we had reached affiliate level on Twitch, which was already what's I guess that stepping stone to bigger and better things. I didn't know how at what point we'd reach that, and I didn't think it would actually happen that fast. And there are probably other people that reached affiliate much quicker, but I mean, being able to do that has felt really, just felt that I'm actually maybe giving some good information. You guys like to stick around and come back for some more. So yeah, just happy to have reached that level. And like I said, the next level is partner, but that's one of those things that that's a long ways off, and I don't know. I mean, we'll see how things go. I mean, it'd be nice to have that little check mark beside the name, which would be really weird to have that happen. But at the same time, I'm happy to share with this, have you guys pick apart my brain and have a peek inside my brain if it isn't too crazy sometimes. But yeah, it's I'm happy to reveal these images, and which may otherwise be inaccessible to some people. Like when I'm doing the live astrophotography, those are shots that if you're kind of looking up with your binoculars in like an inner city area, if you're living in there, it's not going to be, you're not going to see a lot of detail. With binoculars, it's tough to see something like this. You need a larger aperture telescope. However, our eyes can only see so much, whereas when a camera can be left open to expose an image for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or longer, you're just collecting that much more information. And it's just one of those opportunities I hope to extend towards other people who are interested in the night sky who just can't, just don't have the opportunity to see these objects. So I feel like when we are taking these live images, it's as close as you can get. I'm seeing it on a screen, you're seeing it on a screen, we're seeing the exact same images rolling through. So it's for me, that's more meaningful than really spending hours processing an image. Well, I love an image that can come out at the end of it, but it is just that point of sharing an image with people, because when I look through an eyepiece and it's just me, that's just me enjoying that image, and it's not what I want. I like, it's great to do visual astronomy. However, I err towards, obviously, astrophotography end of things. So, like I've said before, sometimes visual astronomy feels selfish to me personally. I would rather share these images as quickly as possible, and that was kind of that feeling that happened when I when I looked at the moon for the first time at with the astronomy club that I visited. And yeah, I wanted to. I looked in the eyepiece and like, nope, phone out, get that picture, because more people needed to see that, because you just don't always get that opportunity. And yeah, for the our little notifications, they are kind of generic at the moment, and that's just another thing to build upon there, and you know, make it a little more interesting than just the you know, it kind of fits with the techie look of things, but it's the colors just aren't quite there. So, you know, give Astro Collar another shout out there for the follow. Yeah, it's just a slow process that's going to happen over a long time, with how the channel goes. Like, you know, we just did a quick little change of for the layout of of this page here, so it's a little more personal for when we're just having a little more focused talk on things and not editing an image. But we do have our you know, our bit of at a glance things down the bottom there, and which will be we'll kind of organize this a little better. But I think this will be the kind of the overall layout to the to my talking head scene. But let's see what other little details we can kind of pick out of this out of the image of Melotte 15, and then we'll see where things go from there. I really was hoping that the sky, that the clouds were going to kind of hold off for tonight, because there have been times when it said, yeah, there's cloudy skies, but it ended up being clear the whole night. So with the oh, and that's vanished again. I'll get it back, don't worry. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There it ain't. There's that. There's our new emote. We're gonna get it. It's gonna come back. Again, there we go. Trying to bend things to your will. Now, where this white box at the bottom is coming from, I'm not too sure. But let's see. I'm going to run a process on here. Right, now there is one on. I don't know how long. I'll probably try this one off. Off stream, because I'm not sure how long this takes, because you can synthesize a green channel from red and blue, and because the filter that I'm using is a tri-band filter, which does the HA03 and hydrogen beta, you kind of miss out on a bit of the green. And while there isn't really a green, isn't a lot of green in objects in space, there is, I guess you kind of miss out on that that end of the spectrum, and the green channel kind of coming through on some of those there. So I think I will give that a shot off stream, because there are some processes that I have in these astronomy tools, which were suggested by Astro Backyard years ago now. I think actually when I first started doing astrophotography processing, this was Noel Carboni's astronomy tools, and it was a small investment. I think it was only about maybe $20 US, 25 bucks, which was, I think it was about maybe 16 pounds in the end. So there are some processes in there that are pretty quick. Other ones that can take, you know, like 10-15 minutes almost, depending on the detail of the image, or I guess the overall size of the image. And there's some that are fairly quick. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to, I might run some separate processes on here, but just to see, there is a local contrast enhancement, which is fairly quick, and that does, let's see if that works out. I'm going to have to unlock the layer. All right. Now, for those of you who have kind of stuck around and heard my story about wiping my eyes after cutting hot peppers, I do have a bit of an itch in the eye, and I did cut hot peppers tonight. So I have to resist scratching or rubbing my eye at the moment, because no matter how much you wash your hands, it lingers. The hot peppers, the capsaicin lingers on your hands there. So I'm resisting rubbing my eye at the moment, which kind of overall has become good practice during this pandemic, where you're told not to touch your face. So it's those brief moments of kind of absently doing some automatic things. So the process I did was the local contrast enhancement, which is just a small, quick little process, which just kind of brightens things up there and kind of makes it just a tiny little bit sharper. You can kind of see as I switch back and forth. There is that, it goes from that little soft to a little, just a tiny bit of more detail kind of comes through there. And let's see if I can probably be a process I can probably run on this channel here, on the luminosity channel. Let me actually put it to normal just in case for some reason it doesn't want to work like that. And it may not even work, because if it is just a grayscale image. But let's see if we can run that on there as well, so we kind of have things matching up. Seems to be running through the process. So this is one of the action sets that doesn't take too long to run through. But kind of what it does, it basically let's see, pull that. It runs through about 20 steps in in that span of like maybe about like 15 seconds. That would usually probably end up taking you about maybe 10-15 minutes to do manually. So yeah, these action sets were created to kind of like I said, bend Photoshop to your will and make it more astrophotography centric. And there's other processes in here that'll it'll make stars. You can reduce your stars, increase the color. You can work out getting rid of some of like a color gradient that you may have. It does, although with that process it does strip out. That is there's a soft color and a hard color gradient removal, but that does strip out some color overall. So I don't use that too often. Usually I would have used the RC Astro Gradient Exterminator And this is all these are all things that basically are better available through PixInsight, or sorry, not available through PixInsight, but are just integrated into PixInsight more than in Photoshop. So again, it's all these processes that people have kind of come up with to get Photoshop to work for astrophotography rather than just terrestrial photography. But again, that process does work in the grayscale image. It just increases that contrast and sharpens it up just a tiny little bit there. And it's not an aggressive tool, so it does kind of build up over time if you are using it there. And I'm just running through the layers, or not it's not what I wanted there. The blending layers, and sometimes it can produce something interesting that you may not that can pull out some more detail, and I'll even use that layer to accentuate other colors or some features later on. But generally, if you're making like the luminosity layer, you just choose your layer's luminosity, and most people can drop it down a bit there. All right, Jacko, how are you? Vidas say that stars are actually beings. Your opinion? On that there, I don't have an opinion either way on that. Generally from what I have learned in astronomy is that stars are hydrogen and helium and some other heavy elements that create a nuclear reaction, and that's about as far as things go on that there. So but we do have tons of varying stars in this. This is a bit of a stellar nursery, and this is all being kind of formed by the stellar winds being created by the stars in this area. And what we're just trying to do is pull out some more details that are difficult to get in a single shot for astrophotography. So we're just kind of playing around with the levels on here. I think that's still a little too dark, and we're losing some of that that wispiness there. All right then, imagine the size of that consciousness behind the universe. Yeah, it's if that's how some people believe that things are there, that's totally cool. You're totally entitled to that there. But right now we're so this is this whole nebula is part of a much larger complex that doesn't quite fit in with this this focal length that we're shooting at, which is about 980 millimeters, whereas more wide field images are going to be able to capture this whole entire nebula. And see if we can kind of get a shot of the Heart Nebula. So what is the most beautiful part of the universe you took a picture of? I love Pleiades. That's a good question because there's so many different objects and structures out there that they each have. Like, what I like about this part that we're working on right now is just this towering amount of gas and dust that's kind of forming these stars. Just how it almost looks like a corkscrew image there. I have shot the Pleiades before, and that is let's jump over to, now that's the Pac-Man Nebula that has been imaged in the past there. And the scope that I'm using is it's a much longer focal length, so we don't have we can't get, like, something like the Pleiades is a large star cluster which doesn't quite fit in this focal length. But I did do a close shot of the now it's kind of difficult to see in here, but this is part of the Pleiades star cluster that we shot the other night. And because it was with a narrowband filter, you didn't quite get all that the reflection nebula within that within that cluster there. So it is more of a broadband target. And right now we do have a tri-band filter in the telescope. And yeah, winter is coming. Definitely time for Orion, because there's so many targets in the Orion constellation that I'm looking forward to shooting with the telescope, which was an 8-inch Richie Chrétien designed telescope from Altair Astro. And let's jump back over to Photoshop. So the image that we have, that I need to get back on here because Photoshop doesn't always work well with OBS. We'll get that back there. But yeah, definitely I can't wait. Orion is going to be available to me in probably about next 3.5 weeks. It'll be above the roof line. Betelgeuse was the first star I've seen on telescope, but Sirius is very nice. Sirius is really cool because it is such a you can see a lot of motion from atmospheric disturbance in Sirius, and it's one of those stars that just twinkles the most out of all the stars up there. And there's some people who have taken some really interesting shots of Sirius and kind of created a bit of a color chart of all the the parts of the spectrum that it kind of refracts through. Yeah, tons of colors with Sirius there. Yeah, Orion is become one of my favorite constellations, and that was also based on some projects that I did a couple years back that was focusing heavily on a lot of the stars and structures within that part of the night sky. So I am definitely looking forward to that coming back later on this season. I'm just trying to get this window back in Photoshop because, like I said before, there we go. Photoshop doesn't always respond well to and I think it's going to crash. It crashed. Photoshop crashed. All right, so this build of Photoshop doesn't seem to be as stable as the previous one, which is unfortunate. However, we did see some of the details in M15 that I've actually been trying to capture a little more in the past. So yeah, Good luck then. Gotta go. It's 11 p.m. in Croatia. Well, thank you. Was it Jacob or Jakobovic? If I'm butchering your name, I do apologize. But thank you very much for popping in there. And yeah, thanks for visiting from Croatia. I appreciate that very much. So unfortunately, with Photoshop, it decided to crash on me. So what? At least Illustrator seems to be working out just fine. It's nice and stable. And like I said, the next couple of days we'll be working on getting these images together for our emotes on the site. And I think I will switch out the Astro, the new. Well, I don't want to say it's the new Astro Canuck logo. However, it's closer to what I had envisioned for earlier on in the logo, because right now, you know, what we have down here, that one down there in the corner, it's one of those things I used more on Instagram and Twitter for some of the things there. But I think that it is, I'll be starting to make things a little more, not that this wasn't my own design anyway for the logo, but just kind of keeping things a little more in line with our emotes and things like that. And I do like the bold look of this, and it does work well for that. I think those are going to look pretty cool for the emotes on there. And they might change up a little tiny bit, like maybe let's see, that's still all one. Let's ungroup that. Maybe make the maple leaf a little larger. You know, so we still, yeah, you'll still be able to read that. And actually, let's bring that O. There we go. Bring that in front there. Yeah, a little larger. That's so the maple leaf is you know, if it's a smaller icon on the screen here, it's going to be a little more, you know, I don't want it to be too detailed. However, I do want it to still be legible. And I think the possibly the overall stroke width on Astro needs to be a little larger. Maybe, yeah, that looks to, because as it gets tinier, that stroke is going to be less evident. I do want that to show up against a black background, or a lighter background if need be. So it's that 11 point. Yeah, I think it looks kind of cool. I'm happy with that. And once I kind of get that into Twitch and on the on screen there, it might change up a little bit there. Just kind of depends on how it looks overall. So we will see. We'll see how that looks once that gets in there. But let's see, that's at 11 points. So well, I'll update the other options there. I think that needs to probably be a little more, the lines need to be a little more bold around there. But that's fine. I'm just a little disappointed that Photoshop decided to pack it in there. So as far as going back into Photoshop. It was I'll definitely go back and work on that that Melotte 15 separately, do that off stream, and that way if Photoshop crashes, then you know, we'll you know, that's just on my time. It's not doing it on stream and not acting the way I want it to. So, wrong one there. So let's see how I'm confident the sky isn't going to be where we want it. Yeah, if there is a surprise clear sky, then I'm happy to pause proceedings and set the scope up. But I don't believe. Now you can just see the overall color of the sky. Yeah, we have I wouldn't say a slight break in the clouds, but we're at this point, it's saying there's about 38% cloud coverage. But coming up in the next half hour, it's going to be 70% plus for cloud coverage. So it doesn't look too favorable. Let's see. I mean, there's just enough. Like Mars is bright enough to start punching through the clouds there, but they are still. Right there is Mars at its closest, at its brightest. But usually you can kind of see, you can see other stars in the sky if it's nice and clear. But unfortunately, yeah, Mars is the only thing we can see, and by the position of where my telescope is, it is not able to, it would be shooting through the trees there. So yeah, unfortunately, without cutting that tree down, we can't see everything that we want to see in that area, in that view to the south. So they're a little limited in things there. And you can just see down to out to the west. That's just this overall haze and reflection of the town center that is really illustrating how much cloud coverage is in the sky. And I think we are actually at we're even at high humidity right now. Yeah, the dew point is at 9 degrees. We're at 10 degrees outside, so it's 91% humidity. So it's, yeah, it's just going to be over. It's not going to be even good seeing as well, unfortunately, which is disappointing because we have, like, there's no wind outside at all. The temperature is, you know, at 10 degrees. That's 10 degrees Celsius. You know, totally fine. But yeah, unfortunately, just not the ideal conditions that we want for the night sky. There we go. That works out well. So it's the filing system on here. Actually, was this a better one of? Yeah, I was liking this shot of the Pleiades because you can just start to see some of the starlight being reflected off the clouds there, off the dust clouds. You unfortunately, I can't do a histogram stretch or anything else on this one after it's been saved, which is a little unfortunate, because we're able to get some half decent detail out of this this portion. And you can just see even how much the kind of the color changes. We're covering that wispiness of everything there. But these are some of the previous images that we've captured in the past there. So for those of you who have just joined in, thank you very much for coming in for this rainy day astronomy edition. I am Tom. I am the Astro Canuck, and usually we are shooting live images of the night sky, and we're able to kind of process these images a little bit live as we go there. But this was a previous image. I usually do 10-minute exposures with my telescope and dedicated astronomy camera, and this is a shot of the Crab Nebula that we did back in the end of October. And there you go, sorry. It's shot with the 8-inch telescope, and this is a supernova remnant of a star that exploded back in 1054 AD, and it was discovered and recorded by Chinese astronomers. And it's kind of one of the more recent supernovae that occurred within our galaxy. And let me get some more information on the Crab Nebula while we're looking at that there. This is usually we'll take these images, they kind of come in live, and we'll talk about them then. But this is a fairly bright nebula, and it's the supernova that created the Crab Nebula was also assigned a variable star designation, and was first noted as a guest star by Chinese astronomers on the 4th of July 1054 AD. According to Chinese records, it reached peak magnitude of -6, which is 4 times brighter than Venus, and that is the visible magnitude of an object in space. There are assigned numbers. The lower the number, the brighter it is. So as it goes into the negative numbers, it's much brighter. I think the sun is listed as -24 magnitude. So something like this. When you see Venus in the night sky, kind of in the springtime, as it's closer to the sun in like the early evening, it is a really, really bright point of light in the sky that really that starts to appear before anything else, before any stars in the night sky. So the light that came from the supernova from the Crab Nebula was visible for daylight for 23 days and seen in the night sky for 653 days. Petroglyphs found in the Navajo Canyon and White Mesa in Arizona, and in the Chicao Canyon National Park in New Mexico, appear to be depictions of the event by the Anasazi Indians. If I pronounce that wrong, I do apologize. The supernova's nebulous remnant was discovered by John Bevis in 1731. Charles Messier independently found it in 1758 when he was looking for Halley's Comet on its first predicted return. Messier first thought that he had found a comet, but soon recognized that it did not move. His discovery of this object led to him to compile his famous catalog of comet-like objects for preventing their confusion with comets. Messier cataloged the nebula as the first entry in his list and acknowledged its prior discovery by Bevis when he learned of it in 1771. So this is the object that kind of kicked off the Messier catalog, which in itself consists of 110 different objects in the night sky, consisting of nebulae, galaxies, star clusters, open clusters, and just a kind of one of the more popular catalogs that astrophotographers will use to pick out their targets. And yeah, this is the Crab Nebula is the first one of his list there, and it's one of those objects that I had tried to capture a couple years ago, but didn't have quite the right equipment. So I did have a very faint little cotton ball like object on my camera, and it just wasn't able to get this kind of detail. With this, we're shooting with a 8-inch telescope at 979 millimeters using a 0.6 reducer on there. So it is usually at a focal length of 1600 millimeters, but we adding that reducer, it does reduce the focal ratio, which allows us to collect the light a little more efficiently than we would at the native length, at the native focal ratio of about f.8 or f8, sorry, which is still fairly an alright speed for a lens, but at the same time it can be much quicker. So for planetary imaging, that kind of focal ratio is great because planets are really bright, and you don't really want to overload the sensor there. But yeah, that was the Crab Nebula is just one of those objects that for me I've always wanted to capture, and it just hasn't been available until pretty much this season when I was able to shoot this just about a couple weeks ago now. But there have been, like I said, the objects that we're able to shoot are going to, it changes with each, basically each month. Where there's some new objects that are going to be better available in the night sky, and let's see, there is. I'll just kind of give you guys a quick rundown of what it is that we have available, because I am limited by where my views, because here is in Stellarium. This is a view of my back garden, and I do have, to the south and to the west, I do have trees and houses that block my views. So really the only available views I really have is to the north and northeast and to the east. So, and basically straight up towards the zenith, which overall isn't too bad. And I do have, like I said, a limited window of objects that I can shoot, but it does work out fairly well, because in the winter time I do have the Milky Way kind of going overhead, and when it is in the springtime, when we're kind of in galaxy season, I do have that view out of our galaxy into other areas of interstellar space. So this is our current configuration, where we do have Orion will be available. The elevation on here isn't exact, because I did it is a custom view for the back garden there, and Orion is just a little lower towards the roof line at this point there. So in a few weeks it's going to be readily available above the roof line, and we're going to be able to get some pretty interesting shots of these areas in the night sky. So that's not what we wanted there. I wanted to pick an area in Orion first. Right, so let's just choose the star Alnitak at the moment. And this is the type of view we can expect to see in this this red box, is what our viewfinder what our focal length and our sensor size of the camera is. So, you know, once the Horsehead Nebula is up, I'm really excited to get this kind of shot of the Horsehead, which I actually haven't really got any great images of the Horsehead Nebula in the past, due to really only having shorter focal length telescopes available. And also, for the most part, last season I had a lot of cloud coverage and just inopportune moments to be able to image the night sky during the winter months when Orion was at a good area of the night sky. So I am looking forward to getting some shots of the Horsehead and the and its neighboring Flame Nebula. I will have to deal with Zeta Orionis Alnitak, which is a very bright star at about minus 5.15 magnitude, and that really can get in the way of some images there. So we'll see how that works out. However, the Orion Nebula is one of those targets that I shot early on in when I started off with astrophotography, and it's one of those targets that's great for beginners, but it also offers a good challenge for experienced astrophotographers to get a really good image, because that core, that trapezium, it can really, even you can see in this kind of this image that they have put in Stellarium, it is a blown out core, because it is such a bright area in this, it's a star forming region, and it can just get easily saturated. So you do have to take your time to get the right exposure lengths of images combined to be able to get those details out there. But it definitely is with the telescope and camera combination is fairly new. So I've only been working with this configuration for about the past 2 months now, if that even. So yeah, lots of new opportunities. We'll aim for the Running Man Nebula as well, because it is such a long focal length. These are two targets that are usually shot together, but I will be be imaging them separately there. Something like the Witch Head Nebula, unfortunately because of its size, definitely not going to be able to fit that all in the sensor there. So it's one of those targets that's better suited for wide field images. So I might also set up my my smaller telescope, my 3-inch refractor, and we'll get some images, do some wide field images of that there, because that is the image size that we can expect from the Skywatcher 72 ED telescope. So it is a wider field of view versus the sorry, there's a mosquito in here. I saw it earlier, and now it's kind of discovered me. So we'll see. Right, so yeah, the smaller refractor is going to offer up a larger field of view at the sacrifice of details. However, it's kind of one of those. Now I'm thinking there's a mosquito everywhere. It's one of those views that is kind of going to catch a lot more. And now I'm hunting mosquito while I'm streaming, but I can hear it buzzing. You can see it too. Anyway, the larger refractor versus the reflecting telescope, you're gonna get more details, more resolving power, but this is also at the sacrifice of catching a wider field image. So it's just that trade-off of having two different scopes available, and this and Orion is definitely going to have me changing up the scopes in the next few weeks there. But also being able to capture, you know, M78 will be one that I had shot almost 2.5 years ago now, trying to capture that one with in my previous scope, which was very slow at f12 and only a 5-inch aperture. So I was still using an alt-az mount, so I was really trying to push the limits of that scope, and it was really hard to get some of these fainter objects in the night sky. And you know, we'll get the Rosette Nebula, which is again better suited for wide field focal lengths, but I think also shooting this this area with, you know, this level of focal length. I think it's a really, especially this little this inner area of the larger concentration of this this cluster of stars. It's going to be look really interesting through an RC8 scope, and we're going to be able to pick out some even finer details. I did have an image of the Rosette Nebula last season, but I only had an hour with it, and that was kind of like the you know, the limit of what I was imaging in the winter there, and really hoping that that the clouds are going to stay you know, stay away much longer. We're going to have stable weather, and we will be able to get those images coming through more frequently, and not having to worry so much about, you know, not having a good night available for imaging there. So there's tons of areas in this tons of areas in this area, in tons of objects in this area of the night sky that are really going to look fantastic with this telescope and camera combination. So yeah, once Orion is high above the roofline, we'll get some really interesting images. We have I have been able to image the Christmas tree cluster, and that was, you know, this area, which also includes the Cone Nebula. Not really visible in this section, but I did capture that at the end of one of my one of our imaging sessions, because it was late in the night, early in the morning, whichever way you want to look at it, when it just started to peak above the roofline. So I'm really excited to be able to capture that one there, and I think it's gonna, you know, there's some really bright objects in Orion, and those are going to come out really well in the with the scope. But for now, we are under clouded skies, and unfortunately, it's you know, just not feasible at the moment to be getting any meaningful images. So yeah, like I said, we're the scope is still dressed up in its Halloween costume there, but I said earlier on I'm going to replace that with a mustache and a poppy for Movember and Remembrance Day, and we'll have that ready for the next stream, and we'll you know, December it'll have some kind of beard or a Santa hat. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll dress it up, but I would at the same time, I really wouldn't wouldn't really rather have it dressed up. I would rather have that cover off and the scope out and shooting the night sky as often as possible. So we'll yeah, we'll get that together, but we'll see how things go there. But what are we at there? 11 o'clock. Tell the missus wants to say hi. Hi. Hi, Mrs. Caller. I am always hoping for clear skies. I was really hoping that clouds were going to hold off and we actually do some live astrophotography tonight, but unfortunately that was not the case. But these are you know, doing the kind of the rainy day astronomy. I do like doing this as well, just as much as you know, doing the astrophotography. But yeah, I think overall I kind of accomplished what I was hoping for tonight, and glad to see people dropping in. And you know, again, Astro Caller, thank you for the follow and everything else there. And let me see if there's anybody available. Right. Yeah, well, I'll see if this one, we have one person I can possibly throw you guys over to. Usually I go, for the rainy day astronomy, it's about 3 hours is generally going to be about the time that we run for. And like I said, we've tried to change things up a bit. I'll you know, I'll have this kind of laid out a little better there. We'll you know, we'll have a more purpose-built space for you know, for all these, for everything down here. So we you know, we'll have our ASI Air view, you know, live scope view, the view of Stellarium, and you know, that way we can kind of jump to those to focus on elsewhere. But it's like I said, it's an evolving system that we have going on here, and you know, I've only been really doing this for just over a month now, like a month and 6 days since the first official stream doing Astro Canuck, and I'm excited for what's to come. And there's a lot that can be done, that almost has to be done for the channel, in terms of that I've now become an affiliate. And there's all these little things that, you know, like I said before, people can throw money at and quickly have something put together. But at the same time, as a graphic designer, I do want to be able to make my own thing, and at the expense of you know, there's short time between, you know, streams and the real life job, that it's, you know, kind of a bit by bit that we're going to be changing up there. And I do want to try to implement at least one new thing on the channel with each stream, so we can see something grow as much as possible there. So I will refine this area that we have right now, and make it look a little more in tune with everything there, and just adjust some of the things. But I think largely the bar up at the top is going to stay the same. Maybe I'll start adding in a rotation for you know, followers and subscribers, and maybe whatever else kind of crops up there. And I'm going to leave the horizontal chat bar, because that works out pretty well. It's not as invasive as having like a chat bar, you know, in the taking up the whole side there. So I think, yeah, we're gonna yeah, and definitely I will wrap things up from where we are, and we've had a look at Photoshop while it stayed open for for the time being, and able to get a better look at the Melotte 15 at the Heart Nebula, and which I've been kind of having on the back burner for quite a while for the rainy day astronomy, and I just wanted to be able to try and get just quickly process that out a bit. And unfortunately, with Photoshop crashing, I gotta see if there is any patch updates for that, because maybe Adobe has noticed that, and we can have that remedied there. So I will, let's see. Now we got another streamer who is available. He's in the UK as well. He mainly plays Call of Duty, but he has been. I followed his path to affiliate, and was happy to contribute to his channel there. And so if you guys want to just briefly stick around and just join in on the raid. He is another UK streamer. Like he said, he plays Call of Duty, but yeah, just anything I do, like I just want to be able to help out anybody else. So if, at times when if other people are streaming, happy to to kind of give you a bit of a shout out. Happy to be able to just kind of let other people know of anyone else who's doing astronomy, or another stream, or anything else that you want to kind of let people know what you do. I mean, like Astro Caller, who's been in the chat tonight, he does some phenomenal astrophotography, and following his work on Instagram, same name that you can find him there, is another UK based astrophotographer who does some incredible work. And yeah, it's just a wealth of information as well. So for those of you who are watching, if you want to give him a follow, check him out. And yeah, don't be shy on here. Always happy to see people jumping in. Donnie Lucifer, top of the morning to you, mate. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. We're kind of wrapping things up at the moment, but we have been looking at some old images that have been shot in the past, and doing a little bit of astrophotography processing, and to the dismay of Photoshop kind of crashing a bit there. But it's just these are the kind of things that happen with technology, unfortunately. And being in the graphic design industry for all these years, I've noticed that technology doesn't always do what you want it to do when you want it to do it. So you just kind of got to deal with that there. So I am going to have you guys passed over to again another streamer who I've kind of, I guess, grown up with at the moment there. What are the odds of Earth being flat? I try to be open-minded. I would say almost no odds on that. Yeah, not much of a thing for flat Earth discussions. Yeah. But I do thank you guys for I'm trying to be. I am polite. I'm going to pass you guys off to a streamer called Cursed on Duty. He's a British streamer. He does play Call of Duty. He's pretty good at it. And I just want to share the love with other people there. So thank you guys very much for sticking around. And I will like I said, Thursday is looking to be all right weather, so hopefully we'll do that then. And yeah, we'll see how that goes from here. I will keep up some updates on Twitter and on Facebook, and you can find me as Astro Canuck on those channels there. And yeah, you get the next information when we're going to be going live. It can be sporadic because you know, the cloud coverage can be unpredictable in the UK. So let's see. Yeah, we'll pass you off to Kirsten on duty. Thank you guys very much for coming in. Thank you guys very much for the follows, and those who have subscribed to the channel. I appreciate it very much. I have been Tom. I am the Astro Canuck, and I am not here to change the world. I'm here to share the universe. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time.